Today we are going to talk about flaxseed oil, also known as linseed oil. And by the end of this video, not only will you know more about linseed oil and flaxseed oil, you're going to start thinking twice about putting flaxseed in your hair. So if you want to get to the bottom of this, make sure you stick around to the end of this video.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use, for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
Now let me tell you something. If you are in the middle of a love affair with flaxseed oil, then baby, do not let me be the one that puts a little damper in on your love affair. You can keep using it. Hi, hello, Send Out here coming at you with another video. If you are one of the comment lurkers, I really need you to be aware that I love a flaxseed, and I am in no way, shape, or form saying anything about flax seeds, because guess what? I don't really think flax seeds want to be in your hair either. Now, linseed oil is commonly known as flaxseed oil. It's been used for centuries as a natural wood finisher. Linseed oil, aka flaxseed oil, enhances the natural beauty of wood. It's derived from compressed flaxseed oil, and it is loved and coveted for its ability to penetrate wood fibers and cling to it as it hardens and creates beautiful patterns.
Extracted from the ripe seeds of the flax plant, linseed oil has been used for hundreds of years for the protection and maintenance of all types of interior and exterior wood. Make sure the wood is clean and dry. Apply liberally to a lint-free cloth and simply wipe into the wood following the direction of the grain. The viscosity of this oil is just right, which makes it easy to apply and allows it to penetrate deep into the fibres of the wood. You can then leave it to soak in for 20 minutes before wiping away any excess with a clean, dry cloth. The wood will need to be left for 24 hours for the oil to dry and harden before more coats can be applied. If it needs it, a light rub down between coats with fine sandpaper just to clean it and smooth off the surface. Will give you that professional, finished, natural look and feel.
Now, flaxseed oil has been praised for centuries for some of its properties and its ability to aid the body or to aid the person in length retention. But when we're talking about oils and butters, you can't just look at it from one side. We have to look at it from both properties when we're talking about retention and scalp care, and we're ignoring scalp care when we're talking about flax seeds in the hair. If you love flax seeds, oh my God, I need you to continue to do that. Continue to love your flax seeds. Please don't come off in the comments or even in anybody else's comments making videos about how much Cyn hates flax seeds in the world. I actually love flax seeds. I use them as a thickening agent in cooking and so many other things. However, they don't belong in your hair, and let's unpack why. If you have low porosity hair or a sensitive scalp, flax seeds will be a nightmare for you long term. Some may even experience these results or symptoms right away, but the majority of people, over 85% of people who experience negative effects as a result of using flax seeds normally experience these symptoms after years and years of these practices. Let's unpack them. While flaxseed oil has amazing properties at finishing wood, these properties also are linked to the hair shaft, but not in the same way because of the different methods of preparation. When we're talking about commercial grade flax seeds, which is the first oil preparation that we talked about,
Linseed oil, boiled. In this case, also known as flaxseed oil, they were cultivating flax fibers 30,000 years ago And somewhere around 9,000 years ago, they made a change in order to get bigger seeds and more oil out of it. That oil is a plastic. This is fascinating because we can meld the two understandings, ancient and artisanal understanding, with modern day chemistry to figure out exactly what's going on. If you look at vegetable oils in the ancient world, some dry and some do not. Olive oil does not dry. So how did they get ancient oil to plasticize without even knowing how? Oil is a hydrocarbon, a chain of carbon bound with hydrogen. Edible oil has a lot of fatty acids in it, which puts a hydrogen over here and an OH group over here. Now, in saturated fats, the dance card of all of the carbons is taken up by hydrogen. In unsaturated fats, sometimes there's a double bond with another carbon. They kind of, well, you know, I don't judge. And you can also have a triple double bond, or a double bond, 2 of them in the same molecule, 3 of them in the same molecule. These are unsaturated. Now, a saturated fat, or a hydrogenated fat, that is an unsaturated fat that they bubble hydrogen through in order to get it to saturate, it doesn't have any of these double bonds. They share 2 electrons. That allows this hydrogen bond to be quite a bit weaker, and it can pop off. Our favorite sailor Popeye has a penchant for olive oil. Olive oil contains lots of stearic acid, which has none of these double bonds. It's all saturated. Now, linoleic acid, which is linseed oil, has 2 of these double bonds in it. And another oil, tongue oil, which is even more drying than linseed oil, has eleosteric acid, which has 3 double bonds. So these hydrogens are just waiting, shaking, champing at the bit in order to pop off there. And in order for them to pop off, they have to have some interactions with their electrons. You know what's really good at moving electrons around? Is metal. That's why we put metal into the linseed oil. We want to catalyze this reaction. So the hydrogen pops off, it takes oxygen out of the air, the oxygen goes on here, the oxygen is highly reactive. If you got 2 of these side by each, they polymerize together, and it goes from a liquid to a solid, and it can't change back into a liquid. It's been plasticized. This is also what happens when you season a cast iron pan. You bring the oil up to temperature, get these things shaking around, and free radicals pop off. You got an oxygen with an electron there waiting to grab onto other free radicals, form a polymer. That's that hard, waxy, greasy surface. That's why olive oil, a saturated fat, doesn't season pans very well, because it doesn't have any of these double bonds what can form a hang-ba-dang free radical in order to associate with other free radicals. So you want to use something like a flaxseed oil, fit for human consumption, but doesn't have any of those metallic ions what boiled linseed oil or tongue oil have. Hey, science or JFM, just fucking magic. It all amounts to the same. You got pixies dancing around here doing stuff behind the scenes, or, linseed oil, it just chooches.
You just adding the flaxseed oil one time is enough to cause layers that need intense detox. Right now, most people, most cosmetologists or most hairstylists or most people in general, if you put a bunch of coconut oil in your hair all the time and then you go to like straighten your hair or just blow dry it or anything, your hair is going to be chock full of oil, because coconut oil is protein linking, right? It's protein seeking, meaning it seeks protein, and your hair is a protein fiber. So if you have a hair shaft that is covered in something like coconut oil, then it's going to create a barrier. Most people are taking their flaxseed oil and mixing it with coconut oil, or taking the flaxseed gel and mixing it with coconut oil, or mixing it with other oils and other butters, and then adding it to the hair over a 30-day period. I want you guys to understand, all it is going to do is cause massive airflow blockage. It's going to cut off the airflow from the hair shaft, and it's going to cut off the airflow to the scalp. Now, For whatever reason, whenever you say things like this or whenever you have conversations like this, it makes people really upset. I really don't get it. So one thing I had to come to understand is that a blocked follicle is not going to support a healthy hair growth cycle. So you will experience a slower hair growth cycle than normal when you're constantly adding oils and butters like this to the scalp. Now initially you may notice a lot of hair growth, but it's like a play and a trick on words, because everybody's hair is going to grow. Everybody's hair grows. The problem is not hair growth, the problem is the length of retention. And what you do when you're using something like flaxseed oil, you're actually trading in your scalp health for your length of retention. And there's a very easy way for you to have both. Remember that flaxseed oil does a very great job. Flaxseed oil or flaxseed gel does an excellent job at creating a barrier. So even the best shampoo and conditioner, even the best clarifying shampoo and conditioner is not going to remove it in the first wash. It's used to finish wood. The video clip that you just watched, in the video clip that you just watched, he explained the scientific reasoning behind how flax seeds are used, right? In ancient times, flax seeds were used as the first form of freaking plastic. So yeah, flax seeds have been used throughout history, yeah, but we need to get hold on both sides of what flax seeds were used for in history. The only thing they used flaxseed oil for was not just simply for length of retention in the hair or because of all of its properties. And the majority of the properties, like the vitamins and the botanicals and things of that nature that you hear about flax seeds, is only really pliable when ingested into the body, because even though there are some antimicrobial and antibacterial properties that help it to kill certain minor forms of yeast and bacteria, not yeast but bacteria on the scalp, it still is going to feed more forms of those bacteria than kill them, and is going to block oxygen flow as well as create a barrier over the hair's cuticle. These are things that you really have to think about, because yeah, you'll retain length, but then you have to ask yourself, like, what's your main objective? Is your objective long hair or is your objective healthy hair? And if your objective is just long hair and you don't really care about healthy hair, then I mean, flax seeds may not be a problem for you. Most women see someone with really long hair following certain practices, and then they just mimic it right away, when in reality you have to first test something out, like see the pattern after 5 or 6 years, and then after 5 or 6 years of that pattern you want to test that subject in all different forms, right? So you're not just going to do a test and then see how a test subject works in cold weather and then that's it. No, you want to see how this subject is going to operate in cold weather, in warm weather, in weather that's kind of like neither hot or cold, kind of mild tempered. You just want to test it out in all different forms. The problem is, even though your hair could be in so many different states, you do one thing to the hair and then you just go ahead. You do one thing to the hair and then you judge how your hair looks in one form as a way to determine if whether or not this thing works. And that's just not a feasible way to run an experiment. Your scalp is the foundation to healthy hair. So if you're adding something that is very high on the comedogenic scale that has the ability to block the pore and the follicle over time, you really don't want to do that. And it has been scientifically proven that over time, flaxseed oil within the hair's follicle calcifies and creates creates like a thick like putty within the hair's follicle, because after all, that's what God created flax to be able to do. It's not that it's a bad plant, it's just its properties are just not meant for the human hair shaft. And I know some people are like, oh, if you look at the back of products, they have flaxseed in the back of products. Well, they're not using the same flaxseed oil that you see in these videos, and they're definitely not using the type of flaxseed oil that your favorite YouTuber is telling you to put in your hair. They are using an extracted form of flax seeds. So when you make a flaxseed extract, you either use a certain type of alcohol or a glycerin that's gonna pull all of the key constituents out of flaxseed. But if your argument is, when you look inside the products, it's flaxseed in the ingredients, it's flax extract, which is very, very different from flaxseed, as well as the other form of flaxseed used for wood. It's all about preparation. So these are things that you have to think about. But even regardless of the different levels of preparation, flaxseed is meant to create a barrier that blocks the cuticles and blocks the follicles and pores, and that's just what it is. A chemist knows how to add a couple of drops of flax, and they also know how to remove all of the key constituents in flax that make it pore and follicle blocking. So to just say, oh, it's in the ingredients list, is not a good argument, nor is it a feasible one, because a flax extract and a flax oil is not the same thing. Next thing is going to be hair weakening. Your hair gets weaker over time. Just because your hair is long doesn't mean that it's strong. Some people will notice that as their hair gets longer, it's also more fragile. Most women who do things like this are also women who can't use combs or brushes without a whole lot of breakage. Well, your hair needs proper oxygen flow to have its proper strength and elasticity. So you will notice that your hair is a lot more prone to breakage. It could get really long, but if you just comb it, brush it, or anything, your hair will break off and it will start coming out in combs and brushes. It'll be on your shirt. This is not because combs and brushes are bad. It is because your hair shaft does not have proper oxygen flow, and neither does your scalp. Your hair strands are not coming out of the follicle strong, because the pores and the follicle don't even have proper oxygen flow. These are all things to think about. Most people just blame thinning and things of that nature on genetics or even a diet, but over time, and that's why I always talk about hair weathering. And it's so funny, hair weathering is like a real scientific term. You can look it up anywhere, but when you go on some of these Team Natural channels that are out here, it's crazy. Like, the video will have absolutely nothing to do with me, but somehow my name will come up, and people really are out here believing that hair weathering is a made-up term, and it's not. Hair weathering is real, and it is what most of these Team Natural girls are experiencing right now. Hair weathering is the slow deterioration of the hair shaft and the hair follicle due to a whole lot of improper hair practices. A lot of women are dealing with these things, and using flaxseed oil on the hair over a long period of time is going to cause hair weathering. Now, most people are going to say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about because this person uses it all the time and their hair is really, really long. Again, long hair does not equate to healthy hair, and if people can really get to understand that, everything will be okay, right? A lot of people like to throw things out there like, oh, there are a lot of Indian women who use oils and flaxseed oil and things of that nature in their hair, and their hair is long. Well, I'll have you know, women of other races and other nationalities that use oils and butters in their hair, they also have scalp inflammation and different disorders too. So that's not a reasonable debate. Their dermatologists and their dermatologists and their hairstylists are telling them the same exact thing that yours are. The only difference is they're listening and you're not. Let's look at this video. Now, flaxseed's oil sealing properties are amazing for wood, but can be detrimental to the hair shaft and the hair's cuticle over time. I keep saying over time because all of the flaxseed warriors are gonna come out guns a-blazing, ready to fight. Over time, things are good now, but everything works until it doesn't. Just like Mielle Organics, just like the rice water girls, just like the rice water girls, just like the apple cider vinegar girls. Like, you guys, everything was at one time this great fad and this one thing that was so great. Just like Vagisil on the scalp. Nobody remembers that, but y'all were all using Vagisil on the scalp at one time too.
Beauties, so I'm coming at you all with a crazy hack. I know it sounds completely outlandish, completely crazy, but for the last 30 days I have been putting minus that 7, aka coochie cream, on my scalp as a hair growth supplement. So the question I'm sure all of you want to know is, does this stuff really make your hair grow? Alright, so Vagisil, do magic. Thank me later. It's gonna make your hair go down to your booty crack. The whole tea hair treatment. And put this on your scalp every night. Shoot, do twice a day too. Don't need somebody here when you're done with it. Just mix that bad boy up. Just like a relaxer, we did this before. Mix it up good.
Get real good. There you go, stir it. There you go.
All my girls got long hair. See? And it's still greasy.
Has all of these different lighting and all of these different special effects. This is not something that you're gonna base all of your whole entire healthy hair care patterns and routines on. Now, if you are a person that is deciding to go ahead and play in your hair and then you just want to see what happens, then go right ahead and do that. But I also need you to understand that your hair is not like your skin, right? You go around and you play in some skin products, it breaks out your face, you get a pimple, you have a planet on your face for a couple of days, but eventually it heals up, it goes away. Well, your hair shaft is not like that. You are going to play these games with your hair and then you're gonna grow all of this long hair out just for you to go and wait 10 years from now, 8 years from now, 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now, your hair is super long, you go straighten it out and then you run into hell, whether it's you getting heat damage the first time because you have a permanent layer of flaxseed oil on your hair's cuticle and on your scalp, or you are now experiencing follicle disorders, alopecia, CCCA, folliculitis, and all of these different things. There was a time frame where a lot of people, myself included, was like, okay, before I became an herbalist, right, and before I understood the key constituents of herbs and all of their pros and cons, I too looked at flaxseed gel, and because the texture of flaxseed gel and the consistency of flaxseed gel is exactly the same as the gel that you buy at the beauty supply store. You think that it's the same, but it's not. Just because something looks and feels the same does not mean that it is the same. The properties are very different. The amount of yeast and bacteria that are being grown are very different. All of these things are very, very different. And I need you to remember, when you're dealing with something like flaxseed or any type of herb or anything, you're living with a live, living organism, right? So from the moment that you mix it in the glass, there are things that are alive that are in there. From day one. It's not like it starts growing day 2, day 3. No, day 1 there are living organisms in there. It's alive. So if you just run right in, just mixing all of these oils and all of these different herbs up and using them as hair products in your hair, my baby, you are going to do a lot more harm than good. Again, I know there are so many weirdos that don't even like me to watch my channel. Y'all are so weird. Like, I don't watch people I don't like. But if y'all want to keep using flaxseed oil and you want to keep playing that game, and you want to keep playing that game with your own hair, then my baby, go right ahead. I'm not trying to shoot on your parade, but 10 years from now, 5 or 6 years from now, 2 or 3 years from now, just like with my organics, about 5 or 6 years ago that I told y'all not to put essential oils and stuff like that in y'all scalp, because this very thing that everybody's experiencing with my organics will happen, and it happened, right? So you don't have to listen, right? Do your thing, 21, do your thing. That don't have nothing to do with me. I just want you guys to really, really look at both sides of the spectrum and really look at who you've been listening to, why you've been listening to them, and what are going to be the effects that you experience long term. Because the decisions that you make right now about your hair are going to follow you for years and years and years and years to come. So you may think that you're having fun right now and you're just trying something out, but you have to go through something quite serious just to remove this form of flaxseed oil from wood. So what in the world do you think you're gonna have to do with your hair? There are so many other things that you can do for length retention. None of this is necessary. All of the wrapping ponytail holders around your ends, putting oils and putting all that stuff on the hair is just so unnecessary, y'all. Like, you can have very, very easy and simplistic hair practices with no more than 6 products, if even that. That's if you being extra, 6, but no more than 6, y'all, and that's including shampoo and conditioner and deep conditioner. So I really hope that this video makes sense. Yes, flaxseed oil is amazing. It has so many properties for the gut and for the inner workings of your body, but putting it on your hair is not really the best thing for you to do. Will it retain length? But the length that you gonna have, it's a weak little shovel length. You ain't gonna be able to, girl, you gonna have long hair that you can't do nothing with but look at it. You ain't gonna be able to do nothing but look at it and put seashells in it, okay? So anyway, do what you want to do though. No need to get your panties in a bunch. All right, I'll see you later.